friends. Welcome to another adventure with fantastic first grade frogs. As you can tell by my lovely hat, guess what I'm thinking about today? It's spring. You are right. It's a little bit rainy outside. It's a beautiful warm day. The birds are singing, the bunnies are hopping, and oh, it's a wonderful day to think about spring. So I have this wonderful book that I'd like to read to you today called Plants in Spring. Now, the author's name is Martha E.H. Rustad, and Gail Saunders Smith, PhD, is the consulting editor. Plants in Spring. Wow, look at those beautiful tulips. Plants in Spring. Now, on the title page, we have a daffodil, another spring flower. There's another table of contents in this book, and once again, it tells us where we can find lots of information. And this one even tells us where we can find the glossary. Oh, on page 22. So that's pretty interesting, but we're going to go ahead and read the whole book. I think I'll take my hat off for this. The heading says, New Season. It's spring. We plant seeds and wait for sunlight and rain. And you can see in this person's hand, there's a whole bunch of seeds. And they're putting them in the soil. And of course, we know that we dig a little furrow, like a little teeny weeny little ditch. We put the seeds in it, we cover them up with earth, and then we wait. Spring rain makes the ground wet. Plants suck up water from the soil. Now here's the seeds that the person planted in the ground, and you can see there's earth or soil on top of them, and underneath, where we can't really see if we were above ground, the roots are growing down here, and then little shoots are coming up. Now we couldn't see this if we were just looking from above, but we're looking from the side, so we can see all those lovely roots coming out of the seeds and the little sprouts coming up. Pretty cool. Soon shoots and stems poke through the soil. And this is the part we'd be able to see if we were above the ground. We would start seeing these little tiny green things coming up from the earth and starting to poke through and find the sun. Now the heading says, From sunlight to food. Daylight lasts longer in spring. Leaves take in the sunlight. And so here are some of those little baby leaves that are just starting to growing on our trees. Ours aren't quite this big yet, but soon they will be that big, and they'll start to absorb the sunlight and make food for the tree. Plants make their own food with sunlight, water, air, and nutrients. Isn't that cool? People can't do that. We have to eat food, but plants can make their own food. From flowers to fruit. Bees like bright blooming flowers. Bees gather nectar from the flowers. Nectar is kind of a sweet juice that's inside of the flower. And the bees really like to come and suck up some nectar from the flowers. Pollen from flowers sticks to bees. Bees carry the pollen from flower to flower. You can see there's pollen right here all over the bee, and the bee is carrying the pollen to each flower. Soon flowers make fruits. New seeds grow inside the fruits. You can see some apples, and that's all because the bees came around and carried that pollen around to each flower. Spring is a season for planting and growing. What plants do you see in spring? These are some lovely tulips the girl is sniffing. I think it's time we go out in the backyard and see what exactly is coming up in the backyard that's showing us it's definitely spring.
Here we are in the backyard. We can see tulips starting to come up. It'll be a while before they're tall and colorful. Right now they're just starting to poke their heads right above the earth and see the sunshine. These tulips started out as bulbs. We plant bulbs in the fall, and then in the spring they come up. We don't plant seeds to get tulips. We plant bulbs instead. Crocuses come from bulbs too. They're one of the first flowers to come up after the snows melt. And here they are just poking their noses above the ground. Now we can see they're starting to get a little bit taller and get flowers. Wow, they're almost ready to bloom. Look at that. They'll be beautiful and purple. These crocuses are right next to the house. So they are in the sun and they're nice and warm, so they were able to bloom a little bit early. Look how pretty they are. Here are some hyacinths. They're right up next to the house too, so they have stayed warm and are starting to put up their blossoms as well. We planted these bulbs in the fall, and now they're coming up in the spring. These maple trees are starting to put forth their lovely flowers. Pretty soon, we'll see little seeds starting to grow where each of these flowers was. Parts of the flowers will fall off and fill the driveway with all kinds of red stuff. Pretty soon we'll have all kinds of helicopter seeds on the ends of the maple branches for the squirrels to eat. The ends of the lilac bush are starting to bud too. Each one of these buds will turn into a little leaf. Pretty soon, big leaves will be coming out on the lilac bushes. Here's the pond. Can you see the little green leaves on top of the pond? They're starting to come up from the bottom. These are called duckweed. They spent the winter on the bottom of the pond, and now they're starting to come up to the top, now that spring is here. All kinds of things are coming up in the yard. These daylilies also grow from roots that have been sleeping under the ground all winter. Now they're starting to come up and feel the warm sun and feel the warm rain that's falling on them. They're coming up, and in the summer they will bloom with beautiful yellow and orange flowers.
Well, we had some fun in the backyard, didn't we? Glad I had my hat on. Let's read one more book about spring. Now this one's a little bit long, so we're not going to read the whole thing, but we'll read most of it. It's called When Spring Comes by Robert Moss. When Spring Comes by Robert Moss. Spirits soar when spring comes. That means we all get very happy. A sweet, fresh breeze blows. Bright shades of green decorate winter's bare trees. Farmers plow or burn off last year's stubble to get the earth ready for planting. Spring is the time to sow seeds, so there'll be crops later in the year. So you can see the farmers are getting the fields ready to plant the new seeds. Sowing seeds means planting seeds. Rain and melting snow make spring waters rush. The season's warm days and cool nights mean maple sap can rise and be tapped. So the sap that's coming up in the maple tree can be tapped. That means they put a little hole in the tree and the sap comes out into the bucket. Not all of the sap, not enough to kill the tree, but just a little bit of the sap comes into the bucket. And when we boil it, we can make maple syrup. Crocuses poke their heads above the ground when spring comes. And we saw a few crocuses in the backyard, didn't we? Gardeners turn the soil so last year's bulbs will return to flower. These are some lovely daffodils. Now, we didn't see any daffodils in the backyard yet, but they're probably coming very soon. And this man, of course, is gardening and helping his daffodils grow big and tall. Animals big and small are born in springtime. Foals nuzzle their dams. Foal is a baby horse. A mother duck seems to say, "Make way for ducklings." And she's got all of her little babies by her. After the long winter, boats need sanding, brick needs painting, and the roofs need mending. So everybody's working in their yards and working on their houses and working to make everything all nice and neat together. Fixing and cleaning, tightening and airing, and spring tasks of repair and renewal. Everyone's fixing up their houses, their bikes, getting ready for summer. When all the world turns green and flowery again, a blossom is enough to inspire a painting. This man is painting pictures of the flowers that are here. These are iris flowers. April showers bring rain delays if you play baseball, and May flowers. Here's some lovely tulips. This page doesn't have any words, but it has some lovely pictures. There's those irises again, some wonderful flowers, and of course a little dandelion to blow the top off of. When spring comes, birds return from winter homes and busily build their nests as people curiously look on. There's the bird. There's all the people looking up at the bird. On May Day, there's dancing and maypoles, music and sunshine. It seems that all the world celebrates spring. As the season nears its end and hot weather approaches, we mark Memorial Day to honor those who have fallen for their country. And this will be, as we get towards summer, we'll have Memorial Day. Spring makes us ready for the seasons to come. Roll on, summer. We're almost to the end of our time today, friends. But let's do a little poem before we're done. I think this is appropriate for spring, don't you? Rain on the green grass, rain on the tree, rain on the housetop, but not on me. Even Katie wants to read along. Will you read along with us? Read along with me, Katie. Rain on the green grass, rain on the tree, rain on the housetop, but not on me. You're such a helpful girl, Katie. That's all the time we have for today, friends. Enjoy spring. Bye.